Today we're going to cover 5 easy steps to get your Ryobi chainsaw working again. This is a Ryobi 16-inch and it was doing really good but just had trouble starting, so we'll cover the best starting tips, 2, how to check the fuel, 3, how to check the spark plug, 4, how to change the plug, and 5, a little bit more involved, how to change the carburetor. We'll also put links in the description below for ordering these things, and it's not that difficult. Probably take you about 45 minutes, and it worked really well for this Ryobi.
We had a pretty bad storm and our birch tree snapped and fell. So I'm going to be using my Ryobi to cut it, although I had some trouble starting this. I think it's been maybe 3 months since I used it last, and I didn't put any fuel stabilizer in there. So we're going to cover today how to get this thing started and different things you can do to help you out if you're having a starting problem. So unless the carburetor is all gummed up, if you follow these instructions here at the top, these things usually start up. This is the Ryobi RY 3716, so 16-inch blade. And what we're going to do first is make sure we have this switch turned on, so it's going to be in the upward position. We're going to pull back to release the brake, and then we're going to pull out the choke all the way out as far as it will go. We'll pump in some gas 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to pull this with the choke all the way out 3 to 5 times. So let's do 5 times. So I'm going to put my foot down here to support it. Grab here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and now it says put in the choke to the run position, and you should get it to start usually on the first pull. So it doesn't sound too good. First thing you can check is make sure you got fuel, right? So I did put in some fresh fuel just yesterday, but I'll show you how to do it. The kit comes with one of these cool little devices for doing a lot of the different repairs you need to on your Ryobi. You've got your spark plug wrench here, and you've got your standard head screwdriver. It does a lot of things. These are set up so that if you wanted to use your standard head screwdriver, you could use it to loosen up this one. And I can see fuel coming out already, so I know my fuel level is good. So we got to make sure you have fuel. You need fuel, you need spark, you need oxygen to get your Ryobi going. So we have enough fuel. It may be that the fuel is not reaching the combustion chamber because the carburetor could be gummed up. If gas sits for a while, it isn't being used, it has a tendency to kind of gum up. Our chain oil looks good. You can see on the dipstick, got plenty. So that's good to check. And next thing you could do is check your spark plug. So you can just spin this off. Make sure it's in off position. Shouldn't make too much difference, but just be extra safe. Get this casing off. And take your air cleaner off. You can see when you pull back on the choke that it's choking, it's not letting as much air come in, so it's more of just fuel. And if you push in, it opens up the butterfly valve and you get more air coming in. So that's what you want during the run position. And we're going to check on the plug here. So we're going to take the top off, get that off, and we'll go ahead and take the spark plug off. Okay, spin it off. Sometimes the spark plug can give you an idea what's going on. You pull out the spark plug and you see that it's got a lot of liquid on it, then you probably have a flooded condition, and there's just too much gas in there, so it can't spark. You don't have any ignition. You can take this off if it's really wet, and you can just, with this off, you can run this a few times so the piston moves up and down and pushes out that excessive fuel, and then put that back in. I did get a kit from Amazon, which is a tune-up kit that gives you a new spark plug and a new fuel filter, and actually a new carburetor too, for only about 20 bucks. So I'm going to go ahead and put the new plug in. It's a new kit from Amazon. It's part number X002JH. I think it's an O22P, and it's from Motoko Company. And this will give you some of the things to help tune up your machine. Here's a new spark plug, and this is the same size as the original. Looks like the gap looks pretty similar to the one that came out of it. These are L7T plugs. Okay. Let's put that in and see if that changes anything, because that's pretty simple just to put a new spark plug in. I don't think that's what's going on. If you ever want to check to see if you do have spark though, what you can do is go ahead and take your plug and plug it into the ignition wire. Make sure it's seated in there nice and tight. And then turn on the chainsaw arm switch. Let it rest against the metal. It has to make contact with metal. And then go into a dark area and pull, and you should see a spark. Let me try that. You watch right here. I know it's dark, hard to see. You should see a little spark. Just going to make sure this is touching the metal. Still plugged into the boot. I did see a spark. Yep. Spark looks pretty good. We did see a spark. We know that the plug is okay. I'm sorry, the ignition wire is okay. We know the plug's good. We know that this thing, the magneto, which creates the spark, is good. I don't know if the spark is strong enough, but I definitely could see a lot of spark. We're going to put that back in, put it together, and see if that made any difference. If not, the kit also comes with, pretty cool, it's only, again, about 20 bucks, a new carburetor, because the one I have may be gummed up, and a new fuel filter, inline fuel filter. New fuel hose in case your fuel hose is gummed up, and this little guy where you can pump in more gas in case that's not working. New gaskets, and a tool for adjusting the I think it's for the air fuel mixture or for the idle. So let's tighten up that spark plug and see if that made any difference. Okay, make sure our little ignition wires on there nice and solid. All the way locked on. Okay, that feels solid. Okay. Put our air cleaner back on, air filter. Protector plate back on. Sometimes this little piece that is on the top of the choke, this little plastic piece, can get out of place, so gotta make sure it fits into the slot. Put this back on, and we're going to twist this on. Okay, we have it in the on position. see if there's any difference. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put in the choke all the way. Yeah, not really getting anything, so my guess is we have spark, we have fuel available, but I don't think the fuel is getting into the combustion chamber because I think there's some kind of clog somewhere. You can see the fuel right there. Let's take a look. I'm going to pump some fuel in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then get it in the combustion chamber. I can smell fuel here. Let's see if the plug got wet at all. Pretty easy to work on these motors, engines, since they're so small. When I smell the plug, I definitely smell gas, but I don't really see any on the electrode, but I can smell it. So it's getting gas vapor, which is good, but it's not getting too much. Put that back on. Let me tighten it back up. Cool little tool for doing all this work. This comes with your kit. Push that back on there nice and tight. Feels good. Okay, so if you take your standard head screwdriver, twist this guy, you can take the head of the carburetor off pretty easily. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so this is going to come out, and then this one's going to slide up with it. There's the head of the carburetor. Set that over to the side. It's nice and wet in there, so fuel is definitely getting from here through this tube into here. But I wonder if one of these jets might be filled up. I'll try the new carb, which would be pretty easy. I'm just going to undo this screw and this screw here. You can see the advantage of the new Ryobi 40 volt rechargeable battery systems, because you don't have all the silly gas carburetor maintenance you got to do. You just recharge your battery. They're kind of pricey though. I think you're coming in at about 150 bucks. I want to get this gas line off, so I'm just doing a little bit of prying on the gas line to get it away from the carb. I should be able to pull back and get this guy off. Take your time. And watch out for a little gas that's going to spill out. There we go. Okay, so we got that one off. Go ahead and finish taking out these screws. Been a pretty good chainsaw though. This is probably year 4. Usually starts up each season, but I'm just thinking the carb probably has gotten gummed up. There are products you can put in though when you got to store these guys that can keep the fuel stable and less likely to gum up when you're in the off season. You kind of coax this one long screw out, pull that out of position, set that over there. Got one on the other side here too. Definitely do this outside though, because you do have gas, liquid gas smell and vapor, so it's better not to breathe that in. See if we're ready to come out of here yet. So this little piece surrounds the idle screw, and I'm just going to pull that out. The plastic piece fits in that slot. There's another screw right here that we got to get out. Okay, that one's going to be a shorter one. Okay. Now we can get this part out, which is the throttle body. Okay, I kind of wiggle stuff out of here. See, I think it's being held in by this gas line's kind of in the way. Here comes our whole carb. There we go. Okay, we're going to wiggle this out. Here's our throttle body. And our screw. Notice that there's a sheath that has to fit in to the new carb. Put that off to the side. Here comes our carb. We're still hooked up to our throttle linkage right here. You can see when you move this guy, we gotta get that out. I think though we can just twist this so it comes out. Yeah, that came free. Okay, got this. We're still hooked up to this line. I'm gonna pull this line off. Okay, got it. And there's our old carb. It's pretty good. Okay, set that down. There's our new gasket. So we can take off the old one, just carefully pry it back a little bit. Looks about right. Here's that little sheath fits in the new carb. So here's the new carburetor. We're going to put that sheath in there. And we'll go ahead and put the sheath in the other screw side there. Looks good. Okay, get our orientation right. Cool. Here's the gasket for the throttle body. Just gonna clean that up a little bit. Put that one back on. That. Cool. All right, so we got to get this little linkage off of the old one. This is for the choke. And you just got to get this cotter pin out of here. Yeah, there we go. Came out. Get the cotter pin out. We can get this one off of the old carb. Put that on the new carb. Orientation the same. Okay. Put that one in, and we'll put our cotter pin in to hold it. Okay, push that pin back in. Got that lined up. Okay, so I'd like to put in my new carburetor now. I have the choke set up, and I want to put in the little throttle linkage, so I got to get that pin to go through that hole, so I have to come in at a diagonal and make sure I don't forget about this gasket here on reassembly, which is this guy. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to make sure we put that back in. Put this little pin in at an angle for the throttle. Push it down and turn it. See if you can make this easier to access. Alright, I got that throttle to go back into the butterfly piece here. So we got that set up. We got our choke done. Let's put this little gas line back on here. Push it on. That's fine. Alright, we're going to put that gasket back. Make sure the little hole is up on top. I'm going to go ahead and put in those long screws. Throttle body. And I do have a gasket here too on the throttle body. Those came with the kit. Line everything up. Alright, so I got these screws already coming through the gasket. Help me line it up. Got that gas line on. Go ahead and get these guys into the manifold. Get them started. Wiggle everything back in. I gotta get this gas line out of the way so I can seat this one down. Lower. So I got my gas line on there, looks good. I got my screws lined up, I got my gasket on. Let's see if I can push those screws in now. Oh. This one back in too. Go. Nice. Just finish putting this one in. We're just tightening up these main screws now, these long screws that hold the carburetor against the manifold. And we're almost done. We'll see if this does any good to get our chainsaw going. I was surprised at how inexpensive it is to get a new carburetor. I think I bought the carburetor and a new magneto in case we need it. I think the total from Amazon was like 35 bucks. We'll put a link in the description. That's pretty cool. So the tune-up kit comes with the new spark plug. We added that in. New fuel filter. And new carburetor, new gaskets. So This fuel line looks good. Pushing it in a little bit with my screwdriver. I think if I push this, I think the gas comes out here. Yeah, so we know that's working. We know we got flow. So we're going to put the gas line on. On this one, just keep pushing in. You'll have to kind of make a right turn. Keep going. There we go. That's on nice. Okay, we're going to check everything. Looking good. Get this idle screw body back on. Push it down in its slot. That looks good. That's on tight. This thing, you got to slide this piece down into that slot for the choke. Pull back on the choke a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'm pulling back on the choke. I can see the butterfly valve move. That's cool, right? Like that. I'm going to check the throttle. So I'm going to push in on this. You can see the throttle moving good, right? That's good. You can see the choke moving good. So I think we're good. All right. You can smell gas. See if this helped at all. So we're going to put the air filter back on. Got this on for the spark, nice and tight, new spark plug. Put this back on. Get this on nice and tight. And I think we need to redo the whole starting procedure. So number 1, turn that on. Number 2, pull back, release the brake. You should hear that click too. So there's on, and then pull it back, off. Okay, now we're going to pull this back all the way to choked. We're going to press this 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we're going to pull this 5 times with the choke out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're going to put the choke in. Let's see if it'll start now. So that started it really good. The idle's a little bit too high. So what you can do, use your screwdriver. See that? It's about 11 o'clock. I'm going to bring it to the left to say 9 o'clock. Let's see if that's any better. This is the old carburetor. I think I'll probably just soak this puppy in some carburetor cleaning fluid, clean it up, and maybe this will be usable again. Just probably got gummed up. So if you notice you have a gap like this in your chain, you want a little bit, but that's probably too much. You can adjust it pretty easy. You can use this tool that comes with the kit to loosen these guys. You don't have to take them off, just want to loosen them. Just take a minute to do that. Make sure you got them both loose. You can turn this adjusting screw on righty-tighty. So make sure you have the brake off when you're doing this. Make sure this can move freely. Just too much play there. So you don't want that to come out of its rails. Let's try tightening it. We'll go righty-tighty. Still coming out of the rail. Righty-tighty a little more. Still coming out. A little more. Okay, that's pretty good. Still moves. Yeah, I think that's good. So then you can just tighten these up and you're done. You want to get them pretty tight. Good. When you're using your Ryobi, the chain may come off. You may get a situation like this. So just work on straightening this out first. And it's going to be pretty easy just to put the chain back on. Just going to unravel the chain tangle. And it's going to be no problem to get this back into position. There we go. So we get that back on. So we're just going to undo these nuts first. Get the nuts loosened up. We're going to turn this screw counterclockwise to loosen it, and then we can feed the chain back on. I'll get the chain back in the track here, get it around the nose, and if it's still a bit tight, it's okay. You can just mess with the links here, like this link's a little crooked. Get those all straightened out. And I gotta loosen it a little bit more here. Push the whole thing back. I'm just gonna make sure these are all going into the track, and I'll tighten it up.
So this worked really well and got the Ryobi working again. It's a great chainsaw. It works really well. It cuts through big trees fast and easily. And this will be a very easy thing for you to do to get your Ryobi working again. In this case, we just needed that new carburetor because the carburetor was probably all gummed up. Great machine. Wish you luck. If you have any questions, you can contact me at scottthefixitguy@yahoo.com. Thanks so much for watching. To announce our new channel membership. By joining, you're going to get some really good perks. Number one, you're going to get live help whenever you need it on your appliance problems, either by text, email, FaceTime, Zoom, whatever you want to get your appliance problem resolved. I'll be able to get you any kind of parts diagrams that you need. I'll get you really good deals on parts. I'll send links to you so you can order them and get them probably by the next day to fix your appliance. And all this is only for $4.99. So that'll save you quite a bit of money. And the whole goal of becoming a member with me is that it's going to give you a chance to save a lot of money on the types of appliance repairs that we all run into on a yearly basis. So thanks so much, and please click on the link in the description below, and that's going to allow you to join